Hello and welcome to Aerospacery. Today, my fellow aero enthusiasts, we have a very special guest joining us for an interview. He is a NASA astronaut who has logged over 26 days in space on 2 International Space Station construction flights, STS-116 and STS-130. He has logged 18 hours on EVAs during 3 spacewalks. Nowadays, he serves as a Senior Director of Human Integration for Blue Origin and a Launch Director for New Shepard. He's a hero, he's kind of a badass, but most importantly, he's a dear friend. I'm very happy to introduce my friend, Nicholas Patrick.
Hello, Karina. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you, buddy. I'm glad you could make the time, and because I know you are a much busier person than I am, but thank you. And I thought we'd start today's conversation by maybe diving into your astronaut training, because it seems like training for that kind of experience is a really physically and mentally intense thing. So what kind of unusual training have you done historically?
Well, when you show up at NASA as a new astronaut, Karina, you spend about 2 years as what's called an astronaut candidate, or affectionately an ASCAN. And they give you all sorts of training in that 2-year period. Obviously, lots of training on space shuttle systems, in my day, space shuttle systems. And today it would be on space station systems primarily. They give you training in the kind of science that astronauts are asked to participate in or help perform on orbit. They give you some basic EVA training where they put you in the neutral buoyancy lab underwater. They weigh your suit out until it neither sinks nor floats, hence neutrally buoyant. And they take you through the basic tasks of a spacewalk, how to get in and out of the airlock, how to move around on the handrails, how to make sure your tether is always attached so you don't float away, all those things. And then, of course, there's the T-38 flying training. You need to go through a component of Navy survival training to fly in the T-38, because you sit in an ejection seat and you could eject over water or over mountains or the forest somewhere. You get to start out as a brand new backseater or front seater in the T-38 and learn the ropes. So all of this keeps you really, really busy for the first 2 years.
Wow, that is a lot of training. Do you suppose that maybe they incorporate so much variety to see what you're best at, or just to more so prepare you for the variety of situations that could come up?
It's mostly to prepare you for the broad variety of situations that could come up, as you say, and the broad variety of tasks that a modern astronaut is asked to do. Not just fly the vehicle like the original astronauts, but participate in the science, perform outreach to students and others. So there's really a lot of different things. But also, they are observing you the whole time. I remember in the classroom where we were doing our science and space shuttle and space station systems classes, there were 2 big cameras at the front that would occasionally pan around the room and watch what kinds of questions we were asking. And I don't know who was sitting at the other end of that camera, but I'm sure they were taking notes about us, because NASA needs to be able to rely on the people it sends to space, not just to do a good job, but to represent the agency well.
Yeah, it's kind of an expensive gig, and it's not getting less expensive anytime soon, I imagine. So you have to be able to rely on books.
I hope it does get less expensive. I think that's the whole reason for these new space companies, is to reduce the cost of access to space so we can put industry there. But back to training. You asked about unusual kinds of training. Once you've finished your basic 2 years, you get a technical job in the astronaut office. And that could be, you could be following one of the vehicles, say a SpaceX Dragon vehicle, or you could be helping with medical issues in the office or management. And then when you get assigned to a flight, you get what we call mission-specific training, where you get trained on the actual vehicle you're going to fly and the actual tasks you're going to do. And that's another exciting thing. But NASA also throws in what I'll call expeditionary training events. They will send, for example, a newly assigned crew out together to do 10 days of sea kayaking or 10 days of hiking, backpacking, because there's no better way to learn about your crewmates than to experience hardship with them, to experience difficult situations and make decisions together.
I would completely agree. You can actually see how people are going to react when they're faced with stressful situations. I mean, they say that, I don't know if you've ever listened to a gentleman called Jocko Willink. He talks about his Navy SEAL training and talks about the kind of people that actually can make it through something like that. And, you have to have a certain kind of personality and be able to measure yourself against the amount of stress that you're going to be faced with, and also be able to rely on the people next to you.
I think that these are skills that some people have and others have maybe not as much of, but they're all learnable skills. It's things like self-care, knowing your limits and how to look after yourself, because if you don't look after yourself, somebody else has to. It's knowing how to be a good leader or a good follower. Not everybody can lead all the time, and sometimes most of the team has to follow well, which sometimes
that's
means
a great point.
Following decisions that you didn't particularly agree with. But if we don't all go in the same direction, we won't be a team anymore. So there's a lot that you can learn on these, not just about each other, but about yourself and about the way to get along as a team.